Shalom, brothers and sisters. Shalom, brothers and sisters. Not going to be long. Just want to make a video regarding the matter of the name that we say we are and can lay claim to, giving honor and praise to the Creator and the Maker of heaven and earth, the Most High. This is the word here, Yisrael. Now, for those who say Hebrew has no vowels, they will say this is Yashara'Allah or Yashu. Ra'al or Yasharal. You see it different ways said by those who say Hebrew has no vowels. And this is no disrespect intended nonetheless, but is a vowel. It's a sound. What a vowel is in actuality is a written sound. So if you were to say this is Yashara Allah, you're still saying vowels with it, just saying it as Ah. All right, so we just want to point that out. Now, next thing to point out with this, brothers and sisters, when we're seeing Yisrael, this is the Yod, the Kirik, the Sin, the Shawar, the Resh with the Kwamat, and the Lamed with the Zareh. Now, let's look at this very carefully. This Yod that you see right here, right, making a Y sound, all right, serves as a prefix. So if you were to just say this here, the Sin and the Resh, right? It comes from the root word Sarah. The word Sarah in Hebrew means to contend. All right? So we want to point that out for reference purposes. So now this Yod serves as the third person, the third person masculine, singular, future tense. Why do we want to point out, brothers and sisters, the aspect of it saying in future tense is this? Because this word here, El, right? It comes from the root word ayil. The word ayil, brothers and sisters, means to have power or to be mighty or to have strength. So that's something we want to point out in that particular regard. So what are we saying, brothers and sisters, in this particular case? Is this Yod, all right, serving as a prefix, showing the future tense of this root word here, meaning as stated to contend. And this one here, El, translated loosely by saying God, speaking of the Creator. Yisrael would mean, brothers and sisters, El, the Creator, will contend. That's what that means in that particular case. So many times brothers and sisters would say that Yisrael means Prince of the Power. In spirituality, perhaps. But if you want to talk about the aspect of literal meaning, or if you want to talk about the aspect of linguistics, as opposed to just spiritual aspect of why Jacob was given that name, this is what we want to point out in that particular case. Now, as stated, this is not going to be long. Just wanted to point this out for reason and purposes and so forth and so on. All right? We want to emphasize, as been pointed out in other videos, that Yisrael is not from Isis, Ra, and El. That's something that was purported by Masons and people of that kind of nature to try to throw people off from the truth of what it is. You understand? It is not from Isis, Ra, and El. Isis is not even an Egyptian god or goddess. That's a whole other subject. We're not going to get too far into that particular aspect. And brothers and sisters, El, we want to talk about a little bit, if we will. All right? Let's look at that. Many times people say that El was a Canaanite deity and then say that the Israelites adopted it. Saying El, brothers and sisters, is no different than saying the quote-unquote loose term in English, God. You understand? So if somebody said God in 1604 and then somebody said God in 2004, one did not borrow it. We have to just know and understand, brothers and sisters, what the speaker or author is talking and conveying. All right? So as pointed out, this word here, El, comes from the root word, all right, Ayil, which means to be mighty or to have strength. In Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, verse 32, you read La'el Yadecha, meaning speaking about power in your hand. All right, now, brothers and sisters, in the scriptures, before Ham came into existence, Ham is the father of Canaan, right? You had a person named Mahalalel, all right? And you have the word El in that man's name. So that's something we want to point out in that particular regard. You have Mahalalel, Mahalalel, all right? That's in the book of Genesis, all right? That was even before, brothers and sisters, Ham even came into existence, much less Canaan. So El, identifying power, mighty, so forth and so on, was already known among the people even before the Hamite dispensation came into the earth. All right? So we just want to point that out for reason and purposes. With that, shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
giving honor to the creator of heaven and earth. Want to go over this, not going to be long. Want to go over verb and noun. Let us look at this, brothers and sisters. We have the word here, hora or hore. Now, in this particular case, we're dealing with it as a verb. All right? Hore, in this case, in the he filled stem, which in root means to teach. Okay. All right. So, then we have this word here, more. The word more means teacher. So what do we see so far? The verb and then the noun with the prefix of it with the mem there. This is a male teacher. Then we have this word here. And we can say it also as hore. Now in this case, we're not dealing with it as a verb, but as a noun. And this means parent, a male parent. Now we have this word here, okay? And we have it as mora. The word mora meaning teacher, a female teacher, all right? Then we have here the word hora, okay? Hora meaning female parent. So what do we see so far? Hore in root, meaning to teach, the verb. More, a teacher, a male one that is. Hore, in this case treated as a noun, the male parent. Then we have mora, meaning female teacher or a teacher that's a female. Then we have hora, a parent that's a female. And we have here the word Torah, generally said as law, but the word Torah really means teaching or instruction. For instance, when you read in the book of Proverbs and it says, forsake not the teaching of thy mother, all right, al tishkat Torat imerka, forsake not the teaching of thy mother. So we just want to point that out. So we have a teacher, a male parent, a female teacher, a female parent. So what do we get out of this? The teachers are parents, and most definitely the parents are teachers. And what are they supposed to teach? The instructions. So just want to show how the Hebrew works in this particular case. All right, you can see that the O and the R sound is still there. The O and the R sound is still there. You may have a change with the mem or the tau or in root with the hey, but the general premise of the sound is still there. Unlike English, when teaching and instruction, those words do not sound alike. Whereas teacher and parent in English does not sound alike in root, all right, linguistically. So just want to point that out. Hebrew is easy. Get the book on Amazon. Shalom. Shalom, shalom. Giving honor and praise to the Creator, the maker of heaven and earth. Brothers and sisters, we want to go over this, not a long presentation, but we want to go over the matter of the language. All right? Now, what we're reading from is in the book of Genesis, chapter 16. Okay, so let's go over, put the vowels in and explain the nouns, the verbs, and the prefixes, the suffixes, the conjunctions, and so forth and so on. All right. This is wa, which means and. You will find in Hebrew, brothers and sisters, that this word here, sarai, whatever and is attached to is going to be in one word in Hebrew. So in English, you will say and sarai, which is two different words. But in Hebrew, it's one word. Wa keleb, and a dog. Wa luach, and a board. It's one word in Hebrew. However, in English, and is not attached to the word that is with it. So we just want to go over it in Hebrew. It is one word. All right. So here we have all right. Wa sarai.
and Sarah. This word we see here is the word eshet. All right. The word eshet means wife of. It comes from the root word isha, which means wife. Okay. Eshet, wife of. All right. So the word isha means wife, but eshet means wife of. So it's showing a specific wife, a specific woman, the woman of, the wife of. All right. Abram. All right, now, Ab means father, Ram means exalted. Ram means exalted father. All right, so we just want to point that out for a reason and purposes. Was Sarai Eshet Abram, and Sarai, the wife of Abram, right? Lo Yalda. Lo, Noah not, Yalda. She did not bear. All right? The word Yalad, brothers and sisters, in Hebrew means to beget. So if you said Yalad Bain, means he begot a son. If you said Yalda Bain, you would say she gave birth to a boy, or to a son, that is. All right? So we just want to point that out in that particular case. Lo Yalda. Lo. This lo and this lo is actually not the same. This lo is lo, if you want to be specific or in detail, which means to him or for him. All right? She did not bear for him. Wallah, and to her or for her. So what can we surmise so far? Lo is to him or for him. La is to her or for her. Okay? Wallah shifka. Shifka means female servant. The word shapak means male servant. The word shapak, brothers and sisters, means to serve. Now, if you were to have, sorry about that, that's the Kidik, not a Shawah. All right? If you were to have mishpaka, that would mean family, because family serves one another. All right? So we just want to point that out within the Hebraic understanding. So shifka means female servant, right? Ushma. Shema means her name. Shemo means his name. Ushma, because this is a shawah, the and becomes the aspect of the u sound. Ush, you join that together because of the shawah, then you continue reading. Ushma, and her name, Hagar. Hagar, the sojourner. All right, one who sojourns. So we just want to point that out for reason and purposes in that particular case. All right, was Sarai, and Sarai, Eshet Abram, the wife of Abram. Lo Yalda Lo, she did not bear lo to him or for him. Wa la, and for her and to her. Shifka, a maidservant. Ushma, and her name is or was Hagar. So we just want to point that out from Genesis. Shalom. Most High bless.
Shalom, brothers and sisters. Shalom. Giving honor and praise unto the Most High, the Creator, the Maker of heaven and earth. My name is Yeshaya Israel, of the tribe of Dan of the nation of Israel. This, brothers and sisters, was not, for all intents and purposes, an intended presentation in this particular manner, but nonetheless, we care to, brothers and sisters, bring this out for those who are interested. We can be reached, as you see, at the number 908 587 4841. And we call this one here matter of language. Earlier, brothers and sisters, we did a matter speaking upon language, if we will, right? We did a matter of speaking. And one of the things I pointed out that I want to having to edit that video because of the sound quality. But one of the things I have wanted to point out is this here. If this can be seen, I'll be able to see it on the side. All right. This is called here a book that you can actually get online. And I cited this book in my history books. The name of this book, as you see, is called Egypt, Canaan, and Israel in Ancient Times. Now, what can we surmise in this, and how does it connect to what we're talking about? In speaking in history about the people referred to as the Hyksos, brothers and sisters, this book says that you can ascertain the origin of the Hyksos people based upon linguistics. Linguistics, as we know, deals with language. So the Hyksos people, as they were called, actually were different nations. You understand, that ruled in Egypt at a certain time. All right. And what they call Dynasty 15 and 16. And so in looking upon that, if we will, right, I present in my book, Egypt in Writing, that the Hyksos that you see were in part Hebrew and were also people who were not Hebrews. For instance, one of the kings is called Yaakov which means Yaakov means Jacob, and or Har, brothers and sisters, means mountain. So again, that's something to be pointed out, if we will, for reference purposes. Now, what do we want to get into this particular matter? And this is here. If the identity, according to this book, of the Hyksos can be told, through linguistics, we know that linguistics is important. The Hyksos people were part Babylonian, Kassite, from the area of Mesopotamia, Canaanite, Edomite, Hebraic, Hebrew, Amalekite, if we will, and so forth and so on. So it was actually different nations biblically, whether they come from the line of the Shemitic people or the Hamitic people that were ruling in Egypt and were called in history the people known as the Hyksos. All right. Now, when we are not trying to be racial, as say black people, not identifying with a language, but in certain cases want to identify with the land of the West, that is to say, I am, quote, a foundational, quote, Black American. What language belongs to you? While it is asked about us who want to deal with linguistics, who say that we come from the lands of the East, at times we are asked, well, what is your flag? And so forth and so on. But what is, not trying to be back and forth, your mother's tongue? That is to say, the origin of your language can tell you where your people come from, not a flag, brothers and sisters. Anybody can identify and grab on to a flag. Legally, people can have dual or more than dual citizenship. So that doesn't sit there and mean that that is the place and the roots in which you come from. So what is the point in that, and going over the videos, commercials that we did earlier in this video regarding a matter of linguistics, is that language is important. The scriptures that we read, it says, the house of Jacob from a people of strange language. What language was considered to be, in the English translation, strange to the Israelites? What is referred to, brothers and sisters, as what? Metroneta. What is referred to, brothers and sisters, as the matter of the Demotic, the matter of the Hieratic, the matter of the hieroglyphics, if you will. You understand? When the Israelites heard Egyptian language being spoken, you get to between the time of the patriarch Joseph and the prophet Moses, Israelites were already speaking Egyptian. That was not uncommon. You understand? By the time the Israelites get into the land of Canaan, they were already still speaking more than, say, one language. Now, the identity of the Israelites language today is referred to as Hebrew, brothers and sisters, which we promote on this platform, if we will. In the presentation, brothers and sisters, and that is on the platform, Mora Yeshaya Hebrew Lessons. Subscribe to the channel. We ask you to. It gets into the matter of saying that modern Hebrew is not Yiddish. That's one thing we care to point out. The other thing, brothers and sisters, that we care to bring out for reference purposes is that Hebrew has to have vowels. That is to say, sound. Once we understand what a vowel is, we have to understand that Hebrew has structure. If it turned out, sadly, as a case, by the time the Israelites, less than, say, 200 years, was outside of their land, and Ezra and Nehemiah and so on had to reteach the Israelites Hebrew, that goes to show you, brothers and sisters, that the language had to have been more than just saying ah, ba, ga, because that's not going to, say, be forgotten when that is baby talk, for lack of a better term. So, brothers and sisters, these are things not being funny or disrespectful or anything of that sort. Hebrew and the language of any people will tell you the mindset of the people. Hence why you might not be able to use profanity in Hebrew. Brothers and sisters, hence, brothers and sisters, you have a masculine and a feminine. There's a roles for males. There's a roles for females. There are words, brothers and sisters, that denote certain things, such as kukwat, a statue, things that just cannot be changed. Certain things in Hebrew cannot be said that are said in English. There is, brothers and sisters, no Hebrew word for should. I should do this, either in Hebraic thought, ta'ase olo ta'ase, tishma olo tishma, tif'al olo tif'al. You will do or you will not do. You will obey or you will not obey. You will act or you will not act. There is in Hebraic thought no quote middle ground for lack of accountability. There is in Hebraic thought no way to just sit there and say, well, I could have, should, but I didn't in that particular case. So we may want to get this book for those who do not have it. I do recommend it. There's a lot of good history in it and so forth and so on. Not to bash it after just speaking highly of it, but this book came out, brothers and sisters, before this was found. What am I talking about when I say this? When we look, brothers and sisters, right, at what is referred to as, right, this here, the Danite stele or the Danite stela, this right here, which written in Hebrew, brothers and sisters, speaks about David, king of Israel. Now, according to Donald Bradford, whose book came out before this was found, on the right-hand side, this was found in 1994. He stated that there is no external reference to David in the Bible. All you get is David written of in the Bible. After his book was published is when this was found some months and years later. So if we were to just state historically, archaeology-wise, certain things in the book on the left-hand side was not always up to date, but nonetheless, it is very true with the Hyksos and anybody else. You can ascertain where one came from by one's speech, by one's talk, if you will. So, brothers and sisters, we ask you in closing this out to subscribe to the channel, to comment, to like, and to share. Brothers and sisters, we have a presentation in history that is due to be done tonight at 9 p.m. It is now 8:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So what we're going to do is take a break. I'm going to postpone it a couple of minutes. Hopefully people will get the link still who have it already and join us in Danite Publications. Subscribe to the channel as we get into history, brothers and sisters, about African kingdoms. Shalom. Most High bless. Shalom, shalom. Giving honor to the creator of heaven and earth. Want to go over this, not going to be long. Want to go over verb and noun. Let us look at this, brothers and sisters. We have the word here, hora or hore. Now, in this particular case, we're dealing with it as a verb. All right? Hore, in this case, in the Hiphil stem, which in root means to teach. Okay. All right. So, then we have this word here, more. The word more means teacher. So what do we see so far? The verb and then the noun with the prefix of it with the mem there. This is a male teacher. Then we have this word here. And we can say it also as hore. Now in this case, we're not dealing with it as a verb, but as a noun. And this means parent, a male parent. Now we have this word here. Okay, and we have it as mora. The word mora meaning teacher, a female teacher. All right. Then we have here the word hora. Okay. Hora meaning female parent. So what do we see so far? Hore in root, meaning to teach, the verb. More, a teacher, a male one that is. Hore, in this case treated as a noun, the male parent. Then we have mora, meaning female teacher or a teacher that's a female. Then we have hora, a parent that's a female. And we have here the word Torah, generally said as law, but the word Torah really means teaching or instruction. For instance, when you read in the book of Proverbs, and it says, forsake not the teaching of thy mother, all right, al tishkat torat imerka, forsake not the teaching of thy mother. So we just want to point that out. So we have a teacher, a male parent, a female teacher, a female parent. So what do we get out of this? The teachers are parents, and most definitely the parents are teachers. And what are they supposed to teach? The instructions. So just want to show how the Hebrew works in this particular case. All right, you can see that the O and the R sound is still there. The O and the R sound is still there. You may have a change with the mem or the tau or in root with the hey, but the general premise of the sound is still there. Unlike English, when teaching and instruction, those words do not sound alike. Whereas teacher and parent in English does not sound alike in root, all right, linguistically. So just want to point that out. Hebrew is easy. Get the book on Amazon. Shalom.